Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Arbitrary Minds Podcasts. This is Sky.
This is Jay. What is going on, everybody?
How are we doing? And I want a real answer.
Wow, now this time you want to answer, huh?
Yeah, I want a real answer from the audience. I want to hear how you guys are doing. Because this is the third time we've tried recording this.
The third attempt, yes.
The third time. Technical difficulty.
Can you obviously tell that we're not just starting off with a basic Google image
just-
anymore? We're already in it.
We're in it already.
Clearly.
We're talking about aliens.
Aliens.
Right? So...
Fuck. It's about time. So, anyway, obviously you can see we attempted this because it's already marked as red.
So we're just going to go over it briefly. Because I know a good bit already, based on the number of times I've read this.
Well, the first few paragraphs, anyway.
So, a guy...
Yahoo Finance, thank you, by the way.
A guy worked at the Pentagon, and he basically said, we have found vehicles that came from other planets. All right? That's a big roundabout way.
He clarified that he knows that we could not make them ourselves.
As humans, right? He's not talking about, like, oh, our government's not capable of it, but other governments are. Ha! The American government is more than capable of making almost anything. But if it's so advanced that humans can't make it, we have a problem. So, essentially, we were just talking about how aliens exist and why
the existence of aliens, the probability, stuff like that.
So let's just get into how we were talking about it before. I'll just pull up some pictures of aliens.
Okay, some generic aliens, huh?
Yeah. So,
well, what were you calling those other ones? Those white walkers?
oh, the tall whites.
Yeah, tall whites. I hope we don't get anything like. Oh, we're not supposed to.
What the heck can't I?
That was weird.
The tall whites. It sounds so terrible.
The tall white.
It's so terrible. Oh, look at this. Iran says tall white space aliens control America.
Forbes? Really? Forbes?
2014.
Oh, this is old news.
Maybe this
now.
is a bunk thing.
Probably.
Documents leaked by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden conclusively prove that the United States has been ruled by a race of tall white space aliens who also assisted the rise of Nazi Germany in the 1930s.
Why did you hit me?
I hit you because that's freaking crazy. These revelations about our alien overlords might not cost you any sleep. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I was talking about this earlier too, is that there's been multiple world leaders that were talking about how aliens are in every major government in the world. You know, they pretty much help control the world. And that's weird.
That's a creepy picture.
Yeah. This one here seemed pretty interesting. If I can get out of this. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
That right there.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. So, anyways, we were talking about it. How essentially, if you take into account that the world is finite, but the galaxy and the universe is infinite, we know that infinity means infinity, which should imply
it's never ending.
That there are infinite copies of Earth, infinite times over, that are identical, different, uninhabited, all water, on fire, you name it, right?
Okay.
So, I give this information to Jaden, and he always makes a weird face. So, I want to hear what you got to say about that. I want to know what's going through your head when I tell you that.
Well, I don't know. Basically, what I truly think is not out of the realm of science fiction is the fact that, yes, we know that the universe is completely infinite. It's never ending, and eventually the entire universe will come to an end or cease to exist because of the way that stars are made, born, and the way they die, the way that black holes give off so much radiation that eventually they'll just wilt away and die. But that's not for trillions of years from now. But because it's ever expanding, the amount of stars just in our galaxy alone, let alone all the other galaxies in the entire universe, how many stars each galaxy inhabits, and then with those stars, the amount of planets that orbit those stars. is just so infinite. The likelihood that there aren't aliens is far less likely than there are aliens, pretty much. But the biggest problem is that we don't really know how advanced they are because we technically have never seen them. There's always been accounts of seeing them, abductions, stuff like that, but it's never been conclusive enough to definitively say yes, it's real, or no, it's not.
Okay, but that doesn't really describe how you feel about the whole infinity thing, you know, like how because of what we've defined definitively, we have defined infinity as never ending, period.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Never ending means that 100% there is another version of Earth somewhere in the infinite cosmos because it is infinitely vast. You are 100% likely to come across another Earth because it's an infinite number. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, if we're talking about it in that realm, like I said, you would be dumb to think that there's no aliens out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if there's an infinite number of Earths you could come across in an infinite span of distance in our infinite universe, there are also infinite numbers of worlds that have life that are far more advanced, if not even more primitive than we are.
Or less.
Yeah, that's what I meant, even more primitive.
Oh
yeah, because we're pretty primitive if you're talking about, like, the people, and I'm going to go way off into the science fiction world here, the people in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's super advanced, living on other planets and quasar jumps and freaking huge planet-sized spacecraft.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way in hell we would stand a chance if they were aggressive, right? But if we know anything about what we've done on the planet, my argument to aliens is they're there, they know we're here, they watch us, they interact with some of us, not all of us, which is why our governments are constantly under scrutiny for the whole alien thing, right? Because if the government wanted us to know about it, we would know about it. If they didn't want us to know, we would never find out. So you look at somebody like Bob Lazar, who worked at Area 51, and he used to talk about how the propulsion system worked, how they used essentially a machine. It created a gravity or an anti-gravity field to propel it, and it would move space and time in front of the spacecraft to create this crazy... essentially, it's like if you were walking on a piece of paper and they just folded the piece of paper in half right where you needed to be, and you just walked over it. That's kind of how their ships work. But they literally fold space and time. So he goes into this, and he blew the whistle on it. I think he's written a book, honestly. There's been multiple interviews with the guy. The most recent one, which is still kind of irks me, is the guy was just talking to this other dude, no recording, no mics, nothing, in the middle of the woods. And the FBI showed up at his house, knocking on his door, about how they didn't even have to tell him why. They just started searching his place, right? So I was telling Jaden earlier, like, if you were out and about and we were recording this podcast and you just outright say, you know, I saw a UFO on this night at this time in this place, and the very next day the FBI was knocking on your fucking door, like, come on, dude, talk about it. Like,
I don't know, man. Like, what do you mean? So, like, just because, like didn't I describe my encounter, what I pretty sure I saw, what I'm almost 100% certain I saw in a previous podcast?
You did. But okay. I'm just saying, like...
But it didn't happen, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're not high profile enough.
All right, I guess. My FBI agent's asleep, that's why.
Yeah. But, no, that's a real concern. Like, imagine if we were out hunting, and you're like, yo, dude, I need to tell you something super secret. And we didn't have any technology on us at all. And we're in 5A, 5B. Okay. Super far north in the middle, so remote there's not even cell phone service, right?
Okay.
And I just start telling you, like, yo, on the real, I have information about aliens that proves it. I have video footage. I can't show you. And then the next day I go missing in the middle of the night.
Okay.
I don't take my vehicle. All of my clothes and shit are still behind. I was literally taken.
Okay.
And then you see me on the news that I was reported missing. But by who? Right?
Okay.
And, like, wouldn't you, as a person in that scenario, think, like, oh, shit, he was taken by someone. Not something, someone. Like, a person fucking took me. 100%. Like, without a shadow of a doubt in your mind, you knew that it was either the government, a private agency.
It would probably be the government. I mean, well, it makes sense.
But wouldn't that, like, irk you? Or you'd just be like, ah, fuck it, he's dead. The FBI killed him for talking about aliens.
Well, no. I mean, obviously, I'd be upset about it, but at the same time, like, there's
You
not.
wouldn't go and be like, yo, my friend was taken by the government.
And then I'll be taken by the government next.
Oh, so, okay, you're not going to get down to the bottom of my disappearance.
How would I be able to get down to the bottom of it if it's the government
If
that took
there's
you?
a will, there's a way.
So what am I gonna do? Turn into freaking the movie Taken?
Dude,
am I gonna become Liam Neeson and all of a sudden I'm gonna hunt down every single FBI agent until I'm in the Oval Office with the president, and I'm holding him hostage until he takes me down to his cellar where he has you hiding underneath the cellar, underneath the Oval Office, chained up with all the other aliens there?
Yes.
No!
Yes.
No!
I would do it for you.
You couldn't!
What do you mean I couldn't?
If the FBI...
I care about you enough to try to fucking find out what
Yes,
happened
but
to
if
you.
the FBI legitimately just wanted your existence to basically not happen, I'm sure they could do it.
I understand.
Brainwash people into believing that I
Okay.
never existed. You'd be the only person on Earth who actually remembers me existing. And you would be following this rabbit hole that leads to nowhere because they erased my existence.
Okay, guys, so you're hearing this, right? Fuck Skylar if he got taken by the FBI.
You're being dramatic,
for
first of
talking
all.
about
You're
aliens.
being dramatic, first
Nah,
of all.
dude, I'm gonna go missing after this,
So will I then.
and you're gonna be.
It
the
wouldn't be
only
just
person.
you. It would also be me because we're both talking about this.
Yes.
If
But
we
you're
both
the
go,
only one who has
if we both
real,
go,
undisputable
if we both,
experiences.
if we
about
both
aliens.
go missing,
Okay.
there's no one that's gonna be able to find us.
I don't know, man. I think there's people who are willing to get down to the nitty gritty about it. But I digress.
That's besides the entire point.
What I'm saying is, that's super concerning, right?
Yes,
If it was not true, why would they care?
because it's the government, dude. It's the government,
Bro,
man.
that's in the same category as saying I'm wearing women's underwear. I'm not.
How do we know?
I can show you.
Okay,
Right? That's
okay.
proof. I can show you I'm not wearing women's underwear.
Okay.
Right? That's within freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say aliens exist all I want. All I want. And they cannot pick me up and take me to a lab and torture me. Well, I mean, they can. But
Yeah,
I don't
they can.
think they would if it were not true. Like, look at this! Look at this! I don't know if this is an alien. It could very well be doctored, right? This is just a picture I found.
Yeah.
But, if aliens were not real, why do they care if you talk about them? Why do they care if you have genuine information that proves aliens exist?
Maybe the government doesn't think we're ready for that yet.
Exactly.
See, is that
But-
where we're going?
Yes, but that's the thing. You can't just write it off and say, well, he's gone. The government took him.
See, look, this is obviously aliens.
Like,
Clear,
baby
definitive.
owls.
Yeah.
Like, if they took you just because you were talking about aliens, and let's just say we were having just a conversation, and the alien thing comes up, and you just so happen to be right, okay? But because of that, they just take you.
Okay.
I would be like, what the fuck? Jaden had information. He has real, undisputable information that aliens exist, and I need to get him back, or at least the people need to know that he's gone. And this is why he's gone. Because we can make a huge mess out of one Facebook post nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
One post can blow up the government, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
So, if aliens do not exist, if UFOs don't exist, if we are genuinely alone in the universe, why does the government care when people have genuine information that proves aliens exist? Give me that. Tell me why. Why would the government give a shit?
Like I said, they don't want us to know yet.
Okay.
We're not ready for it.
So, why wouldn't we be ready for it though? I think we're ready to know that there's other life outside of ours. Maybe they can gradually tell the public that there's other types of life forms. They don't have to skyrocket straight to, hey, aliens live in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man, riff with me. Give me something to chew on. I can't just sit here barraging you with situations and potentials and what ifs. I'm sure you have some in your head too, right?
Mainly because I feel like, again, like we talked about earlier. So we talked about this earlier today, which is basically where all this is coming from.
And we broke our number one rule: don't talk about a podcast before you start recording.
But this just kind of sparked up just randomly too.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we didn't realize it could have been a good podcast, which it would have actually been great had we recorded it at the time. But the fact of the matter is, I personally believe that if the government were to upright and just say aliens exist, extraterrestrials exist, beings outside of our planet and our solar system pretty much exist, they've visited us plenty of times before, they live amongst us now, you never realize that the person was an alien, there would be mass hysteria among and I would generally believe it'd be among the older generations. Not generations necessarily around our age group, but among the older ones where their religious beliefs and all their belief systems have been completely falsified because of the existence of this type of race.
So, yeah, Brazilian religion believe they
Below
are,
it, dude.
They
That's
are
what I'm worried
aliens.
about.
Images may be subject to copyright. Well, thank you, National Geographic. We're not using their information, right? We're just kind of like picking up pictures as we go. So let's really look at this. This is a guy that we need to know about that, right? So aliens exist. We know this. It's impossible for them not to.
Okay.
100% they've interacted with us. 100%. Humans, they have 100% interacted with humans. There's no way that they haven't. There's a lot of stuff that we would not have been able to do if it were
Like
not.
what?
All right.
Like what?
I don't think we would have computational power at the level we would have it if there was not even a tiny smidge of interference. It doesn't have to be recent. It could have been a very long time ago. You know, we're talking about a super advanced alien race here. It's not like they come down and they're like, ooh, let me show you how to do this, and then they leave. No, I think they put the ideas and the ability to do so in our heads. That's completely within the realm of their capabilities. We're talking about a civilization who is advanced enough to travel star systems hundreds, if not millions of light years away. These aliens that we're talking about here, because they're so ambiguous and we don't have any real proof of what they look like or what they're capable of, but it's not like they were living on Earth first and they've been hiding the whole time and they can't leave the planet. That's us. We have a hard time leaving the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching us, and I honestly believe that they are, like, super closely, because we are advanced compared to other life forms. Let's just say that the closest alien to our planet is dumb as a box of rocks.
Okay.
Right? Let's just say they're ignorant, and a million years from now, we come up across their planet. They're going to be about where we were now.
Okay.
So we're going to be moving from star system to star system. We're going to find these humanoid creatures, or creatures nonetheless, that show signs of intelligence, but we don't know how far along they are as far as being smart goes, right? They haven't left their planet. There's no signs they've left their planet. It would not be in our best interest as a species to go down and talk to them, because we, as humans right now, we're hella aggressive. You can't even look at someone wrong in Walmart without them wanting to fight you here. So why would it be in the alien's best interest? Someone who, a being who can navigate the vastness of space, they can see us probably through buildings, you know? There's no limit to their technology in this world of conversation.
Okay.
So that's my thought on an alien, right? My belief of aliens is they're far beyond anything we can possibly fathom right now. Where do you think they are? Like, if there's an alien, you know they exist. No one else knows, right? We're the only ones in this conversation. So, what would you say the aliens are capable of? Like, what level are they? If they can.
This is just kind of hard for me to even put in words. I truly think that I should stop saying if. That terrestrials that are out there, they are. I personally think that they would probably actually be around our level of growth and expansion. A planet very similar to Earth probably was arranged around the same time as us, and evolution probably took a little bit of different turn. They might be a little bit more advanced than us, or even less. I think that we're generally pretty close. Or if they are smart enough and capable enough to actually visit Earth and stuff like that, they've done it in ancient times, realize that we are not as nearly advanced as they are, so they just left us alone.
But why wouldn't you watch us?
Why would you? It's like watching an ant colony do its thing, and then
I don't know. We seem to take a lot of interest in ants. We have ant farms.
Some,
and
not all. Some
we study them. There's a large portion of our community, our human community, studies bugs, insects. That's what they do.
Okay.
And because of that, we've saved species of insects from going extinct, right? We care about stuff like that. So I don't think there's a reason for them not to pay attention to us. Because I gave you this analogy earlier. If we're on Earth, let's just say we're watching a particular group of chimpanzees and there's one chimp that just kind of stands out. He looks different. A little bit different. Bigger head. Stands a little bit differently than them. Still runs on all fours, but he's, starting to lose hair. So we think maybe mange. Something's wrong with him. He might be sick. But then he starts making tools out of stone. Okay, let's keep an eye on this. You can't just go into the colony of gorillas or chimps and take one of their young. They'll beat you to death. Okay. Right? So we have to watch them and see how far this goes. Let's say 10, 20 years from then, there's another offspring with similar characteristics of the opposite sex. Okay, that's starting to look interesting. Maybe there's a disease that's spreading throughout the colony.
Okay.
Another 10, 15 years go by. We're already starting to get pretty old. But our predecessors have been watching along with us. They're talking to each other.
Okay.
Now they're communicating verbally. We have seen other humans teach other chimpanzees and gorillas how to speak to us with American Sign Language.
Mm-hmm.
That just goes to prove that they can understand us if we give them the ability to.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're watching from the outside in on this little colony of apes, and 100 years in our species timeline with this particular mutation, there's a whole colony of them that can speak to each other. So we literally watched the evolution of an entire species. Granted, this would be leaps and bounds faster than evolution has been proven to take.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not impossible. It 100% can be possible, especially in highly radioactive areas, areas with scarce food supplies, where they need to hunt, they need to survive. Your environment tends to
force evolution.
Mm-hmm. So at the time when they're communicating with each other, for humans at our current level, that would be the best time for us to interact with them. Because they live on the same planet as us. We know what their limitations are, but we know they're smart enough to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were a scientist in that situation, I would be telling my team, now is the time for us to go and introduce ourselves to them. They don't know we exist, but we've been living on the same planet as them. And they seem to have a language. So it's going to take a few years, but we'll come to an understanding that we understand who you are. We're going to teach you about us and then assimilate them into society and allow for them to grow and evolve along with us to help us get to the next step in our evolution.
Okay.
So an alien race who can move star systems, they're probably trying to colonize and expand their horizons.
Okay.
But in order to be that advanced, you can't be aggressive. If you're aggressive with each other, you're not going to be able to get there because there's going to be constant conflict 24/7.
Okay.
We're going to get to Mars eventually, and then another country's going to get to Mars, and we're going to start dividing Mars instead of, we just
Universally colonizing it.
Yeah. So this race sees us super aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I want what you have, so I'm going to kill you for it. This is 200 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting with muskets, guns, and swords still, horses, no vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just start getting more advanced and coming up with more advanced ways to kill each other
Mm-hmm.
instead of moving in the direction of trying to, become more advanced as an entire civilization together. So these aliens would be watching us in awe that we could even begin to hate each other that much.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do you think? Like, if you were watching the same situation with the primates, would you immediately go and start interacting with them, or would you see where they went before you put yourself at risk?
Well, how far would you wait? Like, so you're saying you would only wait until they... Well, don't all animals communicate with each other in some way, shape, or form?
Not the same we do.
Exactly.
We're the only ones with
So how
spoken
would-
language. So that's what I would wait for.
So wait until they start speaking a
Language.
audible language.
Yes.
Like a language that
To
you
show
could
that-
that you could hear a definite...
Pattern. Yeah, because you can't just walk up to a gorilla and say, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
It's going to attack you.
Exactly what I meant.
So,
you would
I
wait
would
until
wait
they would
until-
eventually develop the mental capacity and the brain to actually communicate audibly in a coherent language, pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when I would wait till.
Okay.
How long would you wait?
Logically, it would make sense probably to go there, or at least until they get advanced enough to start building, like you said, a civilization, essentially.
Okay, but at that
start
point,
forming
it's
into-
dangerous.
Why?
We've seen it. The Sentinelese Island.
Okay.
They have a civilization. They have a spoken language.
But they've been there for years and years and years.
Exactly.
Like
completely remote.
just as long as all humans have been around in
Yeah,
existence.
so they're already set in their ways. If you want to help a society grow beyond its potential, you have to intervene at a very specific point so that their growth is put on a different trajectory instead of just killing you and going on and becoming more aggressive. Because we as humans, we're aggressive because we had to fight for our food.
Okay.
And we had to fight for our mates and our property and our land, right?
Okay.
So the aliens, if I were an alien looking down at Earth, and the last thing we thought of as a civilization millions of years ago was to fight each other. Right? We just don't fight each other. It's not part of what we do.
Okay.
So I come across a planet, and I'm the leader in the situation. I look down at these people, and I'm like, oh wow, they have structures. They seem to be exchanging something for other things. So they trade, oh, that one just killed that guy. Oh my god, they're doing horrible things to that person.
Okay.
I look nothing like these people. I'm just gonna watch and see what happens. 100, 200 years go by. We have bigger structures, more stuff, and as an alien, I start to see rockets leaving our planet. Oh, I remember when we did that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'm ready to put myself in danger. That means they're at a point where they must have even more powerful weapons than what I saw them use 200 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you wait for them to get to a point where you wished an alien race would have intervened and helped you move forward quickly. Wouldn't you think it would be smart on their part for their species not to put themselves at risk, but to also try and benefit themselves and their civilization by assimilating another living entity, an intelligent entity,
Okay.
and try to work with them to expand together?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. Yeah. It makes sense. But who's to truly say that these what if they are so intelligent that they know how to they want to assimilate a planet that has life, but who's to say that they won't do it aggressively, though.
You can't be an aggressive and
Why?
an advanced situation at the same time.
Why?
Look at how far back we are as humans because we haven't worked together as a species.
Wouldn't that also take away identity, too, though?
No.
With having opposing ideas, thoughts, and...
They don't have to be opposing.
Ability?
We have opposing ideas, right, by
Yes,
definition.
yeah.
But we're not punching each other because of it.
You're right, yes, but some do.
That's the problem. Some do. When they
Okay.
punch each other for ideas, everything falls apart.
Or opinions, yeah.
You can't build a rocket that's safe enough to fly everyone to another planet if one of the guys in the crew is an asshole and wants to kill everyone. Because all he has to do is fuck up on purpose somewhere and kill everyone. Blow up the ship on its way to wherever it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And of course someone like that's selfish. They don't give a shit about whether you die or they die. They just want to stop the project altogether because they're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That can be bred out. It can also be trained out. You can be developed in a... It's proven that if you're in a very specific type of situation growing up, you turn out a very particular type of way.
Uh-huh.
And technically, that process can be automated. You know? We, as humans, are starting to gain the technology, the genetic technology, to edit our own DNA and our genetics.
Yeah.
And because of that, who's to say that another race didn't do that from the get? Once they discovered it, because they didn't fight and have moral issues or politics, they didn't have any of that. They just said, yeah, let's do it. Let's start making ourselves better. But we can't even, like, just because we believe different things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Someone on the other planet doesn't believe that our God exists and his God's the one God, and because we don't believe his God, he has to kill us.
Yeah.
And it's constant turmoil. We as a country did the worst thing you could possibly do. We created a weapon that should never have been created to be used as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And we dropped it on people, even though we didn't necessarily need to.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it stopped the war a little bit early. But eventually, you know, we would have done enough violence for them to succumb to the military power we had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, so imagine if all of the wars in history never happened and it was just growth as a species.
Okay.
We all worked together in harmony.
Okay.
Where do you think we would be? Probably on Mars by now. You know, all it takes is someone to say, hey, we need to leave the stars. Because of course you can have a complacent species where they're more than happy to just stay on their planet.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But from the beginning of our thought process, we've always looked to the stars and wondered what's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah.
So even if you go all the way back to right when the Roman Empire was about to collapse,
Okay.
and let's pretend that everything that happened there is where the wars stopped.
Okay.
When they
Completely.
started doing astrology and astronomy and looking at exploring the planet, and everything went on course but without violence or oppression or war, slavery, whatever.
Okay.
I think we'd be so much farther. I think we would be a lot further. Because when you're uninterrupted and you're working towards a common goal, it happens a lot faster. And we did that yesterday.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, doesn't almost every country want to get out of the planet? Don't they all want to reach star systems? Or is it more just the fact that what you're saying is that it's more of who wants to do it first?
Exactly.
It's because I did it first. So
It's my
because I
land.
did it first, this
my
belongs
planet.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
problem. It's not like, hey, we're doing this because we want everyone to have a brighter future. No, Elon Musk wants to do that for everyone to have a brighter future.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, he's had pushback every single step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we've had arms races, we've had races for everything. We are always competing. And healthy competition is always good, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But we know that can be done. We know it doesn't have to result in war and death, famine, pain, struggle. Look at what we've done to other countries by not giving them some of our excess resources. We can put other countries on the planet so far in a rut that they almost can't get back out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they need help. So if we erase all that terrible stuff, I think we would already have left our planet. We would already be a type 1 civilization, if not more advanced than that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't have an inter-solar system species that's aggressive. It doesn't make sense. It would be almost impossible to have an aggressive species that, unless for particular reasons there's two planets in the same solar system that are competing for resources and they just so happen to not like each other.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, that's such a small possibility of super hyper aggressive interplanetary type 3 civilizations.
Mm-hmm.
So given that the situation would be that they're not violent and that they've been watching us, trying to help us advance in little bits here and there so that they can assimilate with us and help us move forward, I think they're just waiting for the right time.
And so you think that right time would be the moment that we left the planet and start essentially developing bases on other planets, i.e. Mars?
Or other planetary bodies in general, a moon base even.
Yeah. I think a moon base would probably be the smartest way to go, but it would be much harder to develop proper moon base versus on Mars with an atmosphere and
A little atmosphere.
small enough atmosphere that it can be done.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But, so you think about it that way. We would wait for another species on our planet to be able to communicate with us before we interact with them. Or at
So
least in a meaningful way.
what I've seen is that the next scientists believe that the next species to actually evolve to be sentient would probably be like cuttlefish.
Or octopus, right?
Yeah, an octopus.
Cephalopods.
Yes, because they're intelligent enough to understand and use tools. They have been known to use tools, especially to escape, enclosures, get out of situations against predators, stuff like that. So I'd say the cuttlefish evolved and started developing to walk on land. Started to move on land, and then they developed small colonies, and then they developed a sense of, communication between each other that's verbal. Would that be the time to...
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, welcome to land. We've been watching you for a while.
So, but before then, you would completely leave them completely isolated for them to develop.
Absolutely, because if they're sentient enough to fight with each other and hunt other species for food in mass quantities, you, my friend, as a non-water creature, would be at a severe disadvantage.
Uh-huh.
And them, as non-land creatures, would also be at a disadvantage on our home turf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would only make sense to let them evolve in a natural way, start developing some sort of peace in their communities, because a community and a civilization means there's at least some level of peace.
Yeah. Enough to where
People
more
are-
than two can live
in harmony
Yes.
with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a perfect time for us as a species to interact with them. Now, interplanetary species is a different story.
Yeah.
You can communicate with them, but all they've ever known for who knows how long is their own species.
Mm-hmm. To be the sentient ones.
Yeah. So you would almost have to wait for them to leave their planet and go to other planets to introduce yourself, because they're not on home turf anymore. They're no longer at the advantage.
They're like a neutral zone, basically.
So that would be the perfect time to say, congratulations.
I would actually love for the fact, like, let's say Elon does get us to Mars, like humans to officially set foot on Mars, right?
He's gonna. I believe he will.
No. Let's say it happens within the next 10 years, right?
Okay.
It happens 2030. The first person to step a single foot onto the Mars surface was 2031. Let's just say that for hypothetical reasons. 2031, human steps foot on that planet. They start to, look at the vastness of Mars, right? And in the distance, they just see a terrestrial wandering through, walking towards them. Obviously, I could imagine the fear being completely in the astronaut's mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Complete fear, utter shock and disbelief that they're seeing what they're seeing. They walk up to them. The terrestrial walks up to the human and they introduce themselves. Hi, my name's Gorgon.
My name's Glorg.
Yeah.
Well, so think about it from the other perspective, right? These cephalopods coming on land, right? They see land-walking creatures. All they've ever known is the sea. So they're like, holy crap, there's other stuff besides us.
Mm-hmm.
And we just walk up to it. Of course they're going to be scared. But because they have the ability to communicate, we're going to be able to, like, calm them down, like, put our hands up and just be like, hey, I'm not here to hurt you. You know, as calmly as possible, try not to be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you'll build a relationship, a sort of trust, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it would take for us as humans, because it's already another being from another planet. Once you get past that mind fuck, everything else is butter.
Would it be inhumane at the moment that we realize that cuttlefish or octopus essentially became to that regard of intelligence?
To continue eating them?
That they found out that we kept them in enclosures in small tanks, and then we ate them?
That would be terrible. But then the rebuttal to that, like, you guys have imprisoned us and tortured us and killed us and ate us, and it's just like, we've done worse things to our own kind.
Yeah.
And
That's
we're
true.
past that. We're trying to be,
We'll stop.
Like, we had no idea that you were going to evolve in this way. And we've evolved over the course of your evolution. And all we have to do is show them what happened during World War II and show them the evil that humans can put on each other.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And
because
that
it would almost be the same exact situation as, let's say, the terrestrial discover, like, they walk up to us on Mars, right? And they'd be like, look, sorry, we've been
kidnapping you, testing on you, but we always put you back.
Sorry, your butts hurt a little bit, but
yeah,
our probes were a little too big when we first started.
Yeah, like, all it would take is them explaining, you know, their reasoning for doing so and who they are, what they do as a species, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all it would take. That's all it would take for me. If an alien's like, whoa, buddy, like, calm down. All right.
Even if it was aggressive, like, let's say it was kind of like Alien, the movie, right? The xenomorphs, completely and utterly hostile, but only hostile mainly because that's how they reproduce, through other living organisms, right?
Yeah, and we don't torture and kill bugs for doing that.
No,
right?
but even if I saw one of those came to Earth, I would still be pretty impressed the fact that one was ballsy enough to come to Earth to see us anyway. I'm sure we would have probably nuked the entire town that alien was found and discovered if it was that hostile.
Yeah, but for the most part, the xenomorphs weren't a hyper-intelligent
No, they weren't.
race.
No.
They were pretty rudimentary, and it was by happenstance that they wound up on a spaceship that was harbored by humans, right? So it wasn't really like an aggressive thing. That's just what they do by nature.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think that if aliens do exist and they're going to make public contact soon, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I think it would be the right step.
I really hope not, but I am concerned that if and when, I'm not even going to say if anymore, I'm sure it'll eventually happen. I'm sure it will eventually happen, whether that be in our lifetime or not. It will eventually happen, but I hope that when it does happen, we don't go into mass hysteria where people are freaking out, going into complete berserk mode, shoot it, kill it, whatever, you know? I really hope that we can be adult about it, in a sense.
And I think that would unify the planet.
Yeah.
I think it really would, in a very big way, because you have this being from an entirely different solar system who can speak on authority that it doesn't work. You know, that this type of system that we run on our planet doesn't work. And the only reason that they're interacting with us is because they think we could be allies with them for eons to come, and they can help us with their technology.
Which would be great.
I think it would be fantastic, you know? because it's just it definitely makes sense that an alien would wait for us to be at least advanced enough to understand that there are other beings out there that can travel from planet to planet. Because we'll already have it in our head. It's 100% possible because we're doing it, right? We're there on Mars. It's possible. Yes, we made it to another planet. Let's build a base. And then once we get that base built, the UFO lands right outside of it. And just waves and walks calmly up to the entrance. We let it in, and it's just like, hello, my name's Glorb. I'm from this part of the galaxy or this part of the universe, and I'm very happy to announce that you guys have finally reached our minimum protocol for contact.
We basically became a Type 1 civilization, therefore you're now
Worthy.
accepting into the universal
Whatever.
alien
right?
program, whatever they'll call it.
And of course, I'm willing to bet that there are aliens that are like, I feel bad for them. I need to help them a little bit. Just a little bit. A little push, a little nudge here and there to get them right on the right track. Sure, they'll probably make this into a bomb, but hopefully they figure out it's a power source.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think, I don't know. I know there's aliens.
I know there's aliens.
And I hope that...
There's extraterrestrials.
I hope that they contact us in a way that benefits the majority of mankind. And I'm almost willing to bet that that's the only reason we haven't had any public relations with extraterrestrial beings.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But anyways...
This has been our time. This is AMI Podcasts. This is Jay.
I'm Sky.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little snippet. Dive into our minds a little bit about aliens. And we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Peace out, guys.
See ya.